fitting words because, you know, I don't know him like perhaps some of you do, but what I'm hearing about him is awesome because, you know, he's out there, he's working hard, and, you know, he has a family himself that's supporting him, and if you hear the comments that other people make about him, you know this is a future star in our community. And I hope that I can do everything I can to help support him in his efforts as we grow collectively.
Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to come here today. As many of the candidates had said before, running for public office is a grueling activity. It weighs a lot on your family. It weighs a lot on the candidate. You know, I feel like I'm sleep deprived right now, so I'm going to do my best to make sense right now. And the same thing with my wife. But you got to work hard. You have to put in the effort because at the end of the day, you got to remember that you are representing the will of the people. The people are going to the polls and they're electing you and they're putting their faith in you, and you must take that very seriously. Now, a little bit about my background and my story is that I originally decided that I was going to run for the Waterford Township Board of Trustees. There's a vacancy, 2-year term. One of the trustees had passed away, a real great gentleman. He was a Democrat, real great gentleman, leader in the community. So when he passes away, there becomes this vacancy. They immediately appointed somebody to the position. That person was appointed to the position on the condition that they would not run, and they did not run. So the will of the people will decide come November 2nd who will be the new Waterford Township trustee. Now, when I threw my hat in the ring, there was about 4 other Democrats that had thrown their hat in the ring as well. All of them I pretty much knew, well, except for one of them. But when I threw my hat in the ring, a lot of people looked at me and kind of were like, you don't have a chance. You don't have a shot, man, no way. One of the candidates that decided to run had 28 years of incumbency. He was not an incumbent, but he had formerly been on the township board for 20 years, and he was formerly the township treasurer. I looked at my wife, and I kept a positive face about it. I told her, oh, yeah, we're going to win this, man. We're going out there. We're going swinging hard, full throttle. I looked over at my wife's email and said, you know, we got a battle on our hands, but we're going to work hard and we're going to do this. And I fired up my volunteers. We got out there. We hit doors. We did everything that I learned in the union hall when I was a kid, tagging along with my dad. You know, we applied it all into the real world setting, hit those doors, let the people meet me. And come election day, when the numbers are coming in, I'm feeling really good, but you're always nervous. My wife's kind of nervous, and you know, we're just waiting for the numbers to come in. The first numbers report, I'm in the lead. Looks good. Looks real good. I'm up by about 250 votes. Now, mind you, this is a township race. We're looking at a primary, so we're looking at about 3,000 votes coming. Next numbers come in. My lead is dwindled down after about 10 precincts reporting. It's down to about less than 100. Still looking good. 20 precincts reporting. It's down to about 57. Oh man, let's see where this goes. 28 precincts reporting, I'm up by 1 vote. 1 vote. And I'm thinking in my head, man, oh man. And I'm praying to my mom up in heaven, and I'm saying, you know, Mom, help me out. Come on, let this happen. But I knew at the end of the day, I said, the person that works the hardest is going to get this. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to win, but that means that whoever should win it is going to win. So by the time the 29th precinct had reported, about an hour and a half later, I ended up winning by 3 votes. By 3 votes. Now we are excited, we are fired up, we are ready to go, and you want to talk about firing up your volunteers, tell them that you win by 3 votes. I don't think there's anything that can measure to that. Firing up the people that voted for you, telling you that you won by 3 votes. Until after about an hour I start thinking about things, I'm like, wait a minute, there's going to have to be a recount here. There's no way. I would ask for a recount. And sure enough, I start calling all my friends who are in politics, and this is uncharted waters for them. They've really never been through a recount. So we went into our recount, and I got to tell you, every vote is very, very important. Every vote is intricately looked at in a recount. Every ballot is held up, just like we saw those hanging chads in 2000. That is actually what is done. And you have a right as a candidate to sit there and watch every vote go through. But after all of the votes came back in on recount day, after 2 days of gruelingly going through each ballot, I ended up winning my election by 1 vote. 1 vote. Now, in a lot of ways, it was a blessing in disguise because I had so much ink coverage on that. The Oakland Press was covering it, the spinal column, front front page of the Oakland Press the next day was every vote counts, and they had my story. But I tell people as I go out there and I knock on doors right now, I'm out there. I talked to a lady 2 days ago, and I knocked on her door, and I knew the house looked familiar, and I think I had a lawn sign there before. So I says to her, I says, knocked on the door, she walks up, and immediately she knows who I am. She says, Torres. I'm like, hey, how are you? And then I saw her face, and I remember talking to her before. She says, I was so happy that you won, and that, I almost didn't vote on election day. I kind of looked at her, and she says, my daughter had a baby the day before, and I was with her at the hospital, and then the next day, I came home, and it was election day, and I was really tired, and I was just so exhausted, and she said, I just don't have the time to get out there and vote. But then she said she remembered that I came to her door, and she really liked me. And she said that she was encouraged by me, and she liked my enthusiasm, and that she wanted to get out there and make sure that I made it through the primary. So she says, I got up, and I went to the polls, got there about 7:45 before they closed, and I voted for you. And she said, I felt good about it. But she said, when I found out you won by one vote, I really felt good about it. She says, that was my vote.